Hello there. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm Colleen Klimczak. I'm an organizational and productivity coach and a certified professional organizer. I own Peace of Mind Professional Organizing, LLC. Since 2003, I've been helping my clients live better lives through organizing and organizational and productivity coaching. I support my clients and my community with coaching, in-person and virtual organizing, my weekly podcast called Your Organized Life with Colleen Klimczak, a free weekly virtual productivity session called Finish Line Friday, a free weekly email newsletter, and regular content on Facebook and Instagram. I also offer presentations and professional development to groups and companies. Coming soon, I'll be launching my membership circle to support my community with even more coaching and productivity content. Want to finish strong this week? Join me for Finish Line Friday every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central for a 2-hour productivity session. Drop me an email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com to request my Zoom room link or follow the Zoom room link on my Instagram or Facebook pages. Welcome to Your Organized Life, episode 175. Today's working title is No Apologies Necessary, Planning for All the Other Stuff in Q2. It's freshly Q2 when you are listening to this, I expect. A new month, a new quarter, and a new season. I hope this finds you well. A couple of storylines are rolling through my head today. The first has to do with a quote from my assistant. I told her this morning via text that she was making an appearance in today's episode. A few weeks ago, I had to apologize again for having to reschedule multiple meetings again. I had to apologize because March was something, all right. The last month and a half, really. It was action-packed, but not with professional work. I had to say to her, I'm very sorry, and this isn't an excuse, just an explanation. These were a busy couple weeks. We had to reschedule, and I hadn't done my work that empowers her to do her tasks. I hadn't created the content for her to post. I hadn't written the updates for the website for her to load into the website. I hadn't done the big picture things for her to be able to do her thing. I'm the leader, and that work I was supposed to do, it just didn't happen. And then she said the nicest thing to me. She's a very nice person. What she said was what I needed to hear for sure, and also to be reminded of. She said, no apologies necessary. We saw these crazy few weeks coming. And that is true. We did. We knew this exceptionally busy March and before was going to happen. It's good that it did. It was supposed to happen the way that it did. She reminded me that we saw these busy days coming. We knew that March was going to be busy. Upon reflection, perhaps back in February, I should have let logic win over optimism and preemptively canceled a few of those missed meetings. I'm always overly optimistic when it comes to scheduling. Optimistic in that I always hope that I'll have more time than I think I do, but I did not. And so I appreciated her kind and gracious statement, and I just blogged and podcasted about grace and showing ourselves grace. So her quote again was, no apologies necessary. We saw these crazy few weeks coming. Thank you, Faith. We are starting Q2. That is where I started this episode. Very often at these times of transition, these temporal milestones, I'll suggest that you and I take some time this week to consider how we're doing, to check in on our Q1 goals and our 2026 goals and that done list, and also look at setting our goals for Q2. We want to make progress on what we want to make progress on, whatever that looks like for you and for me. And we also need to remember all the other stuff. And today, I want to talk about all the other stuff. The other storyline or topic in my head after appreciating we saw these crazy few weeks coming is all the other stuff. The stuff of life. We don't need to apologize for all the other stuff. The stuff of life. I apologized to my assistant because I wasn't getting business and work specific tasks done. But in truth, I was doing a lot in all the other areas. We don't set goals in a vacuum. We are multifaceted creatures. We are awesome and complex and fabulous. We are capable of a whole lot of things. Yes, we are. And we also have limitations. There are only 168 hours in the week. As we reflect on our Q1 goals and consider setting our Q2 goals and our goals for the rest of the year, I want to focus on a step that I mention regularly when I'm talking about those things, but that sometimes we gloss over. And that is the putting the other things that are also going to be happening in that span of time on the list or schedule step. We need to identify those and leave ourselves some space for those. Quoting myself here from my goal setting articles and podcasts from back in January, I said, make note of the big things that are already on the calendar for 2026. These are not goals. These are the things that are going to happen anyway, but that will also impact all the other things you want to or need to accomplish this year. For example, then I mentioned one son will graduate from college this year and one son will graduate from graduate school this year. I pray those graduations are not on the same day. They aren't. One son and daughter-in-law will make major life changes this year as well. These are not my goals. They are my family members' goals. But they matter to my time and energy and capacity to take on new responsibilities at that time. I will not set huge and lofty and time-hungry goals with a deadline of my son's graduation date, for example. Look at us being so wise back in January. So, back to today. Yes, April is a new month and a new quarter and a new season. Yay. Quarterly goals I set now will be wrapping up in June. June! Can you believe it? That's exciting. And a lot, personally and professionally, can and will happen between now and then. Work and life are going to happen anyway, but how am I going to manage myself while all those things are happening? How do I protect all the other stuff and myself? I was just reading an email from a coaching client this morning as she ponders a balance, in quotation marks, as defined by her. Because, a reminder, no one else can define it for us. Yes, this, right? So how am I going to flourish, you and me both, as those other things are also happening? How do we show ourselves grace and leave space for self-care so that we can keep showing up for others? As we look at the big goals, SMART or PACT, like those articles from January, for these next few months, how about all the other stuff and not leaving all the other stuff up to chance? We need to make note of those now. Big events and small events, vacations or work trips, and making sure to leave space the few days before we leave for preparation and also the few days after we get back for re-entry. Maybe there's seasons, and I don't mean in nature, and are on the calendar. Can you relate to this? So every May, or at least every May since I've had children, May is tough. To the moms and dads out there, May is tough. Am I right? For me, there are liturgical events in May, and then there's Mother's Day and May birthdays. We have end of the year school events, concerts, talent shows, spring sports, graduations. When the kids were small, there was the anxiety and flurry of summer planning for activities and fun. And my boys have gotten older, sure, and that has shifted somewhat, but it still comes up. Son 3 will move home from college as his semester ends in May and will transition to summer work and studies. Son 2 graduates from graduate school in May, and there are 2 different weekends of events to travel and plan for. And there is absolutely nowhere else I would rather be. I am so proud. He is amazing. But it took me a few years to remember that May is always a lot, right? May is crazy, and I need to schedule less because things also just pop up. And I know my brain will be fried in general, right? Protecting all the other stuff. I look ahead. I don't typically schedule presentations in May. I protect my weekends in May for family events and family time. I start blocking time to go to Michigan to help my folks now that the weather is more predictably not a blizzard, right? All the other stuff. Because I want to support you in productivity and doing your important work, whatever that looks like for you, I will say yes. We need to make Q2 goals because you know me, I love a good goal. I love growth for you and for me. And we know sometimes that busy days are coming. They are. We know that. We don't need to apologize for them, but we certainly need to acknowledge them, and we might need to plan for them. So this week, yes, consider setting Q2 goals or not. I trust you. You're an adult. But just as importantly, put the important things on the list that have absolutely nothing to do with work or productivity goals because you have a full and complex life and all the other things matter. Let's respect all the other stuff and make note of life and seasons and events already on the calendar for 2026. No apologies necessary. Support around getting things done is what productivity coaching is all about. If it's time to invest in yourself and explore coaching for organizing and productivity, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line via email at colleen@peaceofmindpo.com or message me through my social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you next week.